Amari Bailey was one of the best point guards in his entire class and was one of the smoothest high school guards I've ever seen. And after a solid freshman season at UCLA, Amari was drafted with the 41st overall pick to the Charlotte Hornets. Most people, including me, assumed he was going to be a first round pick going into his freshman season, so getting him with a second rounder is a steal. His stats during his one season at UCLA aren't insane, but looking at how good that team was, you'll see why. Jamie Jaquez Jr. was drafted to the Heat with the 18th overall pick. Jalen Clark was drafted with the 53rd overall pick to the Timberwolves, and Tiger Campbell signed a summer league contract with the Magic. UCLA had almost 5 different players averaging over 10 points a game. They had multiple NBA level players on the team, and at the end of the day, there's only one ball. Amari Bailey finished the season averaging 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists, which is actually really good being a freshman on a 31-win team. He also played shooting guard because Tiger Campbell was one of the best playmakers in the country, so that means he wasn't the main ball handler or the main scorer. So to fit into the already established UCLA offense and carve out a good season as a freshman is extremely impressive. This was all while missing a good few games in January because of a foot injury. He's a drive-first guard and is always willing to make the extra pass. With Tiger playing point guard, he didn't get to show off his playmaking skills as much, but don't get it twisted, Amari is a pretty good passer. Since he rather attack the rim than shoot, he's always there to kick out to a shooter once it gets into the lane. His driving ability and body control was the main thing I liked about Amari Bailey when he was in high school. His finishing ability is also up there with anyone in the draft. He can finish almost anything with a layup or dunk. He can go up for a dunk and turn it into a layup, or go up for what you think is going to be a layup and slam it down with ease. He's 6'3" with a 6'7" wingspan, so he's not the tallest for a drive-first guard, but look at Westbrook. He's not as athletic as Westbrook, but I do think he has the same finesse around the basket. Amari shot basically 50% for the entire season as a 6'3" guard and made 52% of his shots within the three-point line. That makes him not only an extremely good finisher, but also makes him extremely efficient. He only shot 1.8 threes a game, making 39% of them, so he wasn't shooting them that often, but when he was, they were going in at a pretty decent clip. He even hit the clutchest 3 of his life in his final game against Gonzaga. It was a huge 3, even though he probably shouldn't have shot it. The main reason most people don't recognize it is because Gonzaga came down and did this right after.
One opportunity, Crawford for the lead.
His tournament play was one of the biggest reasons he got drafted. Amari Bailey was on another level in the Pac-12 tournament. In the 3 games they played, he scored 26 in the first game and had 19 points in the championship game against Arizona. But then he stayed on fire for the March Madness tournament as well. He averaged 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists throughout the 3 games that they played. He was clutch when he needed to be clutch and was playing more than his role for the entire tournament. That is the exact thing NBA scouts are looking for. Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball are the only other UCLA guards to go one and done in the past 10 years. And going to the Charlotte Hornets can be looked at as a good or bad thing. The bad thing is he's behind LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier. This will make him at best the backup point guard, or he'll get minutes at the shooting guard like he did playing for UCLA, which could be another reason they drafted him. He's primarily a point guard, but even played a lot of shooting guard in high school, so the 2 position is nothing new to him. He won't get the most minutes and is playing for a historically bad team, but there is still some upside. You're watching behind 2 really good point guards. LaMelo Ball is a young star, and Terry Rozier has played his fair share of basketball. The other good thing is there won't be a ton of pressure on him to perform immediately, and will have time to transition versus someone that's starting or someone that's playing on a championship level roster. Although I really don't think it will take him that much time to transition. I think he'll honestly thrive more with the laid-back setting in the NBA versus the super structured basketball that there is in college. Since he was in high school, his best skill has been his creativity, and he will have way more freedom playing with the Hornets than UCLA. Also, if he can fit into that UCLA offense that already had multiple solid players, I think he'll be able to find his spot in the Hornets rotation. Staying another year in college, in theory, would have helped his draft stock, but since there were so many seniors on that roster that were leaving the program, it kinda didn't make sense to go back. The team won't be terrible next year, but they still lost their 4 leading scorers. It would have been a completely different team. Then playing with a whole new team, you're again risking your draft stock just as much. At the combine, he averaged 18 points and 7 assists in the 2 scrimmage games that they played. So when he does get more minutes at the point guard spot, he will perform. Going up against other NBA talent, he looked just fine. He still has a ton of potential. He's not in the best situation, but like UCLA, he's gonna have to make the best of it. One injury and Amari could be in the starting lineup. He's been dealing with this kind of expectation and pressure for years, playing with Bronny and Sierra Canyon in high school. So I think given the right tools, Amari Bailey could be an extremely underrated pick. I'm very close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could help me out by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel, it would mean a lot.